It's not too bad, to be honest.
And welcome, guys, to the Talk of the Empire. Indeed, we are here with our beloved ZeroEmpires and Mr. Memp. How are you doing, guys?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm happy to do another episode of Talk of the Empire. I'm glad to have Memp here after finishing the Battle of Africa tournament. I think it's a good time to have Memp as a guest. And how are you doing, Memp?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. I'm doing well about Battle of Africa. So happy, like you can imagine. You like organizer for tournaments. You can understand how you can feel when a tournament success, and I think it was a success in general for not only for me but for everyone. So the goal has been complete. The main goal. So good.
Sweet stuff for sure. So maybe we will just jump into Battle of Africa itself. And you were talking of like the goals have been like fulfilled. What were your goals for Battle of Africa in general, like for the tournament and maybe for you personally, Memp?
For the tournament, I think what we wanted, Swiss Boy and me, because we don't have to forget that Swiss Boy was doing a lot of work for this one. I was just mostly promoting on the tournament and trying to gather the prize pool, but he got the idea of most of the maps. I just did some little stuff in the maps, like for example, not Socotra. Since there was some controversial with that map. What it was Socotra, not Socotra, right? With the water on the around, I just say Swiss Boy, like if we remove the water and we just put trees, because so much water also in when it was going to be all desert, it makes not real sense. But the goals about the tournament, other than that, I wanted we have a different stuff for the tournament, you know, except Arabia, it was just remove the cliffs, the oases, and it was all replaced by trees. Arabia was basically the same map, but all the other maps were something really new. And I think you guys, I don't know if you agree, crazy games, man. Even with Donut was, we wanted with Donut to make something exactly like it was, an Imperial game, you know, close map. All the other maps were super close, rushing almost for minute 8 in some of the games. And we wanted other map that compensate the others, and also people could ban them. So I think we wanted a lot of action, and the main goal was that pure aggressive play. And of course, we will talk later about civilization and everything to see as much as possible civilizations.
So with Donut, you said you wanted it to be an Imperial map. That was probably my favorite map of the tournament, actually. So it was so nice to see 6 different civilizations, all in the post-Imperial age. And I think one of my standout games where we had, I think it was Tyrant versus Finland on that map. And there was, you know, elite Teutonic Knights, monks, battle elephants, siege onagers, everything, Arambai, everything. So exciting to see that. And I think that was, for me, a really good map. Do you think that you had enough maps? Were you happy with the variety of maps?
I really was, because I really think it wasn't a super long tournament, and we still see different strategies till the last day. We saw in Steppe a barrack in minute 2 from Tatot. So what I mean is we still have to discover a lot of things. If we make 12, 15 maps, many of the maps wouldn't probably even be played. So how do you get used to those maps? How do you know the maps properly? So when we are starting with something, and I think we're still starting with Wololo, with all the civilizations, because this game has 20 years, but how much time has these civilizations? We're still trying to balance everything, right? So if you make a lot of maps, do you think the players will dominate those maps properly?
Yeah, I think the 7 map pool makes so much more sense. If you remember like the old Nations Cup or like the China tournaments, they had like map packs with 25 maps. You had to pick out of 40 home maps and something, and people didn't really prepare for that. Maybe some played map pack like the Germans really like playing map pack, but so many others just had like, okay, we'll pick home maps, either Arabia or islands, and we'll just play the set maps and pray that, yeah, we will just survive or give up the map pack.
Also, about what you said, Zach, how many times we have the opportunity to see, for example, that donut fight with those army compositions? I mean,
never.
I think
not at a high level, anyway.
Yeah, for sure, but it's not the same, because when you see with lower players, you see more mistakes. You saw how many clicks. I was interviewed, probably you did too, Viper, and he said, I have never clicked so many monks in my life. Like, he did 255 conversions. So it was different stuff, something different. We can talk later about all the bonus with the civilizations. It's still a lot of things to discover, but you know that is complicated also when it's team games, 3v3, that the players can practice the game properly. So the best training was probably the group stage for them, because they knew that they have to win 3 weeks. So even if they lose, they still have chances to advance. So they are, even during the tournament, discovering things. So practices, they were practicing some of the teams. So it's complicated. I really think that 7 was fine in a best of 5, because sometimes it was 3-1. So for still 3 maps didn't play. Imagine with 10 or 12. Some maps, I'm sure, will never be played, or maybe once or 2 in the tournament.
And I'm just showing the bracket stage again. And yeah, like one thing I wanted to mention as well, like obviously I love Swiss format. 8 maybe isn't like as good at 16, but obviously we don't have like 16 good teams in Age of Empires, so I think 8 makes so much more sense. If you take a look at the bracket, and I did send you the links earlier, something I realized, look at the Finns. They qualified as 3rd, and they only played again, or they lost against 3 like weaker teams, right? And they won against 3 weaker teams. They won Nadia's Point, China A, and Vietnam, I believe. So they never won against one of the top other, like potentially top 4 teams. They still made it into the top 4. Therefore, I doubted them quite a bit, but boy, did they put on a performance in the semifinals against the Tyrants. It could easily have been Finland against AM there in the finals.
It was 3-2 for Tyrant versus the Finland team in week 2 as well. That was the only time they lost in the Swiss round. So when they did come up against Tyrant there, it was a 3-2. And then again in the semi-finals, it was 3-2. I felt like they were closer in the semi-finals, though. What do you think, Mem?
Well, I was thinking, for example, AM. If you check the way from Suomi, and this is really important for the seeding, that AM was the same as Suomi. They face Tyrants, but in my opinion, I wanted to talk about that series. Tyrants did on purpose. I mean, this is what I have thought. They didn't use Dot. Maybe Dot got busy or whatever, but they didn't want to win that series. I mean, they played their best, but they didn't have a plan. Like later, they were playing without their second best player, because for me, Dowd is their second best player. And yeah, they tried their best. I remember the first game, I think it was a step that Jordan was playing with Mongols, if I'm not wrong, doing really great, but being a little bit slow attacking, because he was dominating Leary, but he didn't have a castle to defend the fast attack. And then they were back. They were trying, but except that match, AM and even SY in the semifinal, AM got a really easier, I will say, thanks to the first seeding, to go to the semi and the final. So Suomi, for me, they are an amazing team. You know, for me, I mean, I'm gonna tell here, for me, they are my favorite team. Why? Because they has been together forever. I mean, in all the tournaments, I remember them playing together, improving, being there, always in almost there. I feel bad for them, because it's like, well, it's just my personal, that they're almost there, and at the end they didn't win, because SY has won Nations Cup, right? The Clan Master, it was SY, but Tyrants has won also other tournaments. Brazil won also the last Nations Cup. It's the only, I would say, top team that is still almost there, but didn't win a big tournament. You understand what I mean? So it's like they deserve to have a win for what they have fight all the time together. That's just personal opinion.
But aren't they like still switching around players? Like Pike didn't play, who played the last Nations Cup. Release and the Max are kind of new. So I was actually like, I don't feel like they have the biggest history. Like this last Nations Cup was the first one where they played as a team, and now Better of Africa. Yeah. So I feel like the lineup like 3 years ago from Finland was, what was it? Pike, Ruben, Stock,
but was the Max too? And the Max.
The Max was 3 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, man. He's the creator for the Barbarian. So the Max is there probably longer than we can even imagine. The problem is that we remember a little bit less because they are not really much in the streaming scene, you know. And it's hard sometimes to remember people that is not being that popular, we can call it. They are like a little bit less popular, but they has been there for years, you know. And well, anyway, I think they are great. And it's just wanted to point out that I feel bad because everyone else has won. Vietnam, I expected a little bit more from Vietnam also, if we can talk about other team. And about Brazil, I think they could be there also. I mean, they got a tough match with a Swai, also with Thailand 3-2. So I don't know. I feel that there was 5 top teams. Brazil was the 5th, and he didn't do it into the semifinals.
Brazil really fought hard. Actually, they had some close games, and they had some really entertaining games. But obviously, they only got 2 wins in the Swiss stage, so they didn't make it through. But they fought in all 5 rounds, so they were there until the very end. Obviously, the SY team got the win in the end there. But what you were saying before about teams that have been there for a long time, you know, you look at teams like Tyrant and, you know, Finland and SY even as well. A lot of those players have been together and they've been playing for a very long time in tournaments. But I think what's quite impressive is that Aftermath made it to the final and even went 3-0 in the Swiss stage as a brand new team. These guys haven't really played in any major events together before.
Because let's be honest, I mean, they individually are great. Any of them individually can win to anyone. That's not happened with all the other teams. So, of course, in my opinion, they needed some more plans, some more teamwork together, because when I was casting those, I was getting the feeling like if you are watching a football match, and then I hope doesn't happen tonight, right? With Real Madrid Bayern, then Bayern again is in the first minute is make a goal, you know. Then Real Madrid, it's panic mode activated, like, oh, and what I do now? What I do now? Because I don't expect that it happened with Juventus, right? So I feel like with AM happened something like this. We're 1-0 behind. Okay, let's see. The second map, Donut, people was telling that they were not playing great. I disagree. I mean, Hart was in one flank, being really aggressive. Leary was dominating Viper dominating. He was ahead to Viper, better say it, right? And was getting. I remember like 1,000 resources is linked from Tato to, and maybe I'm going too far because Battle of Africa Finals is the next topic, right?
Well, we can go over there.
Yeah, but we can mix. We can talk about in general about all if you want, Nili. But yeah. Then, with that 1,000 resources, since the Karambit Warriors are extremely cheap, he just came back dominated. What Leary I feel needed there? Time, wall a little, because Viper got instantly inside and destroyed him. Otherwise, MBL in the middle, I think, wanted to go extremely fast Imperial. So beginning in Imperial, I remember, if I'm not wrong, was up 60 villages to Imperial. He was giving still booming more, but when he went in, he could, but he didn't have really enough army to make the damage. Remove that memes, Nili, because I cannot keep talking with that. I'm watching in the other monitor too, and I have to look here because I see you there, Zach. But I know that the meme is just in the other side. I cannot watch the pool, man. Well, this is not serious, Nili. What is this, man?
The greatest thing about this GIF is that John is even bent.
A serious show.
What I was trying to say is that with the AM there doing a good job, in my opinion, but then the Titans, because the only fully boom was Jordan. You know what I mean, Nili?
Yeah,
I mean, Jordan was full boom from the start. Jordan then got everything to push them all back. Saracens, Mamelukes versus the Paladins. Then MBL without the strongest economy to push with Scorpions, Sichones or something. He got a little late, and then Viper destroyed. So 2-0, deploying for AM, and now what? They were still trying the best, and let's be honest, they are humans. They are Jones. I don't know you, Zach, when we have tournaments and so on, but there is some special pressure also for us. If you are hosting an event, I'm hosting, they feel nervous, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. I think so. I mean, I certainly felt nervous for them as well. You know, when it gets close like that, the pressure is on, and it's difficult to just kind of ignore the score and just focus on each game as it comes. I don't know what their situation was like in TeamSpeak or whatever, but in the interview that I did for just a minute with the Tyrants afterward, Viper did say that they were absolutely prepared for that final, and they predicted exactly what the Aftermath team would do, and Aftermath team did exactly what they predicted. So they had the civs they wanted, they had the civs they wanted on the maps they wanted, and they were a different team to what we saw in the Swiss stage. They really turned it around.
And I don't feel doubt or Viper getting nervous. I don't know, Tatot. Maybe Tatot, since this was the first time with the Titans in that big event, but Tatot has a lot of experience. He has been in LAN live too, and has participated in a lot of tournaments. Maybe Tatot was a little bit, that was only guessing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. They had the same level of being nervous than the other teams.
Yeah, and like when we see the AM stream, and it's all three of them, Leary, Hart, and MBL, they get so salty and flamey, even if they lose a random 1v1 Arabia game. And now the whole world is watching, and suddenly it's not going as planned. And I would be surprised if someone is taking control and taking over and saying, okay, we're down to 0. We still have a shot here, and we still have the better civilization. Let's force them to do mistakes. We are strong. We will take dust. We will take other maps and really push the motivation. But who should be the guy there? It like has to be kind of hard. Yeah.
But
I think they need.
I
think they need Nikov in that situation. That's my personal opinion. We didn't talk about Nikov. I know it will be later, but in that situation, Nikov, it's not only the older in age, because it is. He has also, in my opinion, a lot more experience, has been a lot more around in the community. So I think they really needed Nikov, not only for winning, because the situations in the map, sometimes I think the ideal situation for them was Hard as a pocket, flanked Leary and MBL. I think they didn't get Hard pocket in the whole final. I think he didn't.
Not
they didn't get. No, they didn't get Hard as a pocket in a single game.
Well, they on Beach Fight they had him pocket, right?
That's useless.
But yeah, it's not
in that map pocket
yeah.
is not the same, you know. Pocket there is no pocket. For me, in Nosocotra, that map, all are flanks, you know, because they are all going aggressive. So it was also unfortunate.
And something else, I heard, like I was traveling 4 days before the finals, but I heard that the mood of MBL wasn't that great because Leary just played a lot of Dota 2 before the finals, and MBL kind of wanted to train, they wanted to prepare, and like the motivation wasn't super high on Leary's side, and MBL wasn't happy with that.
Well, to be honest, MBL plays a lot more than most people play. So, you know, I I think it's good to sometimes have a break as well. Maybe before a tournament, it should be all hands on deck. But at the end of the day, I think Leary has to do what Leary needs to do to get his own head ready for the games.
Is that really the best time? I mean, look at the Tyrants.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They knew they would go through the group stage. Came heavily underprepared against Finland, barely lost. But then they realized, damn, now there's $1.6K on the line in one evening. Let's sit down, let's prepare, and just show our full potential. And that's what I'm expecting of AM as well.
And not only that, now I'm going to be, I have been positive, but now I'm not going to be positive at all with AM. What I mean is, if we are trying to make the game grow and we are doing a tournament, right? It doesn't matter, it's Battle of Africa or other. And you are some of the best players because they are the top 10 or top 20 for sure, right? For the people watch the stream, watch everything. I mean, sometimes you say, well, maybe it doesn't really matter if you are streaming Dota or other games. But people will blame you if you lose. That's true. And they will say, well, I don't care. And so, well, maybe they don't care. But it's the truth. You are exposed for the good and for the bad things. So if you are the days before, instead of practicing or something, play Dota offline, play Dota with or play Fortnite without the streaming is not needed. I mean, if there is necessary to stream, I'm asking Zach, you know what I'm trying to say? It's okay. You can do whatever you want. Or you will say, I have been practicing in private. Even if you don't practice, you have to be a little bit, in my opinion, smarter, you know, and just because in other sport or in anything, if you're doing some kind of behave, you know that people will jump over you. And this is what happens, really. I mean, I don't think that playing Fortnite, it makes that the score was 4-0. No, I think probably if they practice a little bit more or they don't play that game, it was the same. But they have to definitely work in these strategies. And probably NBL was angry for a good reason, because you need to practice.
Yeah, that's so true. It's not the problem that they played 5 nights of Dota or Fortnite. It's that they didn't have one day of all 3 players sitting down talking through everything, because they just played absolutely the style they played before. And then, like, for example, what was it, Dust game, I believe, where MBL kind of was in even position against Tato, and they already lost 2 games against Sling, and then decided, okay, now we have to Sling again. That just felt like, okay, we now have to play a strategy that we haven't played before. I really need to ask them what happened there, but obviously I didn't want to do a loser interview. But it just like, it wasn't really consistently well thought out from AM. At least that's what I felt.
Because they didn't have response for the situations. I think they didn't know what to do. They were just reacting to what was happening, you know, without a clear plan. They were trying, because you saw that they were trying. For example, in the last game, they were trying at the maximum. Did you see that they were using the units, how to micro against 100 arbalests for Britos with other archers? Is it possible? I mean, even if you are great, you can't micro, because the range difference is like 3. Because Viper in that map even made Geoman that it makes that it's gonna be 11 range, those arbalests. But they didn't have any of the corner, which it was game for sure. It was terrible. So it was situation that they couldn't control anymore. They tried their best, but went out of their hands.
I think Tato played well in that last game, actually.
Yeah, well,
he walled up when he recognized that Aftermath were going to try and push as 3 on his side. Stone walled it and bought enough time for Viper to get Imperial. As soon as Aftermath came in through Tato's wall, they immediately had to run away again, because there was a group of Mangonels and Arbalest there ready and waiting. So, yeah.
Well, we can talk about Tato's role. I think he was going from less to more during the tournament, by far, but clearly, you know. And in the last series, somehow I was trying to explain that I think his role was maybe the less spectacular, but I was telling to Viper and then, well, I think he's MVP. Don't think because I am Spanish and so on. And I think I don't know if you agree, Nelly, that his with the role he got is very difficult because he needed to control a lot of situations without army. Was slinging, not huge sling in some situation, and he controlled the map completely. Never got a gap, a hole to get raided. Walling all the time in the right time, controlling all the map, and also doing some army. I remember some cities. I think it was versus Suomi with the mangonels reaction with 2 siege wars up, doing the mangonels. Also the monks was fantastic in those cities, and in the final, I think he played perfect. He got, if I don't remember bad, alone most goal than all together.
Okay. Let Mem give his daughter a small kiss. Yeah, that's what we discussed earlier. The addition of Tato was so good for the Tyrants on so many levels. Tato is probably the guy who knows the tips best, together with Dowd and Viper probably. Yeah. He thinks outside the box. He is so open to perfect optimization of strategies. He is in the same time zone, is super active, is fun to play with. It's just like...
Tato is such a good fit into the team, isn't he? He just naturally fits in, and I think it makes so much sense as well when you think about the opportunities that Tyrant have had to meet face-to-face over the last year, and the future opportunities to meet up and actually get to know each other in real life. I think it makes quite a big difference. When you've met someone in real life, the sort of connection you have with them is much stronger, and it makes for a really good team.
I really think the chemistry is really important. You know, if you go rage mode, like I do, for example, in some Black Forest game, it's not positive. I mean, if you are in a tournament, you have to be always constructive. Dan, that word, I'm not gonna say anymore, but positive. And I don't know if they were rage mode because we are not there in TeamSpeak, but what you say, Zach, is good definitely for them, because it get a friendship, and being friend with your teammate, it's always better, and it's gonna provide better communication and better performance overall. And all matters at this level. I think any detail can add. You can know that.
I think even trust as well. Someone in Tyrant is going to say at some point, right, we're going to do this, or they're going to call a shot or a strategy. And if you're working really well as a team, everyone's just going to follow through with that. Doesn't matter if the strategy ends up being bad or if it ends up winning them the game. Whoever makes the call at the end of the day, they're not going to be sort of trash talked about it or flamed about it, which I could see happening in other teams. You know, I could see the end of a game go, you know, they lose, and someone who made a call that game said, okay, we want you to go and sling now. They end up getting some flames or some trash talk from it. I don't think that's a good team atmosphere.
Yeah, it's the same. I agree. I agree with that. It's definitely more positive. When I play Black Forest, never listen to me. For that, at the end, I have to rage, man. It's what it is, man. I have to rage. But it's true. I mean, if Dowd, for example, most of the time is trolling, but I'm sure that when they are playing, it's telling them, or Tato, do this, do you think they are going to complain? Or he's going to say, oh, they think, oh man, he's telling me that, like this kind of trust in each other and respect also, that is really important. So definitely.
What do you feel about Sling in this tournament? Do you feel like the option to not have a Sling nerf was a good one? Would you think about a Sling nerf in future, or do you think Sling was okay?
Was okay. If you check the numbers, I mean, you see that AM didn't sling in all the tournament, and they were dominating. You know, the sling wasn't like. And remember, we are in maps that is incredibly close. If people want to go super aggressive, the palisades now and all this is way easier to destroy. They are way weaker. It's not like we saw the Nations Cup. We have never seen, for example, or almost never, a sling in Arabia. You know, and they are going to scouts now as a pocket. And remember in Nations Cup, Nelly, those crazy China walls, walling all the map all together, and walling, no action. Even if here was a sling, there was all people raiding, attacking all the time, and there was just in some situations just perfect executions. And some teams were sometimes like, what I do now? But if they were attacking or pushing more the slinger, they will die. But in some situations, they didn't kill the slinger. And in others, yes. I don't know if there is some stats about the sling or something, but not always, and not even close always, the team who was sling was winning the game.
I personally feel like a lot of the hate on slinging is coming from the old days. Obviously, as you mentioned, we had Nations Cup that were like sling 80% of the time, very dominant strategy, very powerful, before the sling nerf, before the wall nerf, still in AOC times, and the games were getting very one-dimensional pretty quickly. And people still carry that hate with them, I feel. And they don't want to see those games anymore. But I feel the slinging in this tournament was completely different. And I think I want to see the stats. And if like we are keeping like 25% of the game slinging, that's totally fine for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and you know, as a caster, did you get boring because you feel that it was a sling game? I never.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, you know that they were sending resources, but there was still being action. While in other tournaments, there was some sling, and I was like, come on, I want this game finished, man. I want this game finished. It's unwatchable, man, really. But these ones, I didn't have that feeling. There is always some game that is more boring, but not this time.
The maps were quite open in this tournament, you know, with the exception of Donut. So when there was a sling, the person who was being slung, they had a lot of pressure on them to do the damage quickly enough, because the person who's slinging, like you say, with the weaker walls now, they're a big target, and there's options, you know, for the other team to deal with that. How do they deal with it? Do they try and target that other player? Do they just try and hold versus the person who's being slung?
Apparently there are stats that we had more than 50% of the games with the sling. That's more than I would have expected.
Yeah,
and
feel that way.
If that's the case, then it, I think, needs a nerf.
But the thing is, what is a sling? Because in that donut, Tato sent 900 resources to Viper. That's not a sling. I mean, a sling is when you are slinging from minute 8, you know? And some people in those statistics put that like a sling. That's not a sling, you know? I mean, in that donut, the game is perfect example, because they were trying to make a sling earlier, but Hart, when extremely aggressive, he didn't let Tato to sling. And Tato was defending, was up to castle, did towers, did everything to defend. Also, there were demolitions wrapped that they could break and go in like it happened. Then Lear in the other side, converting the dogs with the monks, going aggressive. For me, that's not a sling. And I'm sure, Nili and Zach, they put that like a sling game. For me, this is not a sling. A sling, if you are wall completely for minute 8, 9, you are wall complete, you make the carnage, and you are slinging and not doing anything. And Tato got longbows, he was booming, sending some resources, then later but this is not a sling game as proper. Of course, if you are with Vikings and you say, okay, what units I'm doing? Well, I'm going to give resources, but I'm defending, the map is open. I think that's not count like a sling. And in some of the games, they count. I mean, every game that you are giving some resources, this is sling. A sling is full sling mode, and you are not doing anything. That's my opinion, at least.
My concern about sling is that is it strong enough that if you don't sling, you're, you know, a lot more likely to lose? Because the worst situation that we could have is where if one team slings, the other team almost has to sling if they want to be able to compete or contend with them. If that's not the case, then it's probably not too bad. And I know back in the day, you know, many years ago, before Sling Nerf, before the Warlord Kingdoms mods, it kind of was that way. It was like, okay, one team is going to sling, the other team either has to sling, otherwise they're just going to be, you know, really hard pressed to defend from it.
AM got week 1, 2, 3, and semifinals sling, and they kill. All the time. They only didn't kill against Titan because Titans got a perfect execution. If Titan didn't play a perfect execution, and it wasn't, like I said, like full repeated sling, because in Arabia, where was the sling? For example, there was no sling, if I don't remember bad. The second game, the donut was like I told you, he gave some resources, but he went to Castle and he was keeping playing. Yeah, sending some resources later. Yeah, I agree. But they could do a lot more damage, and they could win that game, in my opinion, for sure.
Okay, I think it's tough for us to really get the numbers now and how many games were slung and whatnot. I think we should, before the next tournament, team game tournament is coming up, look into that stats. I personally felt responsible a bit for the sling nerf for the Nations Cup, and we had like 10 to 15% Nations Cup sling there with no banking, coinage removed to imp, and that all felt pretty good to me. I think if you want to say something,
yeah, I'd like
to
add
round it
something
up
about
for
the sling.
finals. Okay. Last words on that topic.
Basically, if you think about the game with or without sling, when you don't have a slinger, you have 3 players making military, and you have more potential diversity, you have more potential teamwork. When you have a sling situation, you have 1 player in the corner of the map doing nothing. It's not interesting to see what they're doing. And then the other player who's receiving the sling is doing all the damage with usually like 1 unit army, which is like knights, or meso civs, maybe plumes or eagles. And then it just becomes a little bit sort of monotonous in a way. I kind of like to see the games a bit more where all 3 players are grouping together and all 3 of the enemies are reacting. And you have a bit more variation in the unit types.
Agreed. It seems like non-slings games tend to be a bit more entertaining, but I still like to have it as an element of the game. I think like 10-15% sounds reasonable to me.
The problem is also that with the draft civilizations, it's good because you are going to see a lot of civilizations, but with some situations you need to sling. Yeah. Because the civilizations left are crap in comparison with the others, and you have to prepare also some strategies, and you have to deal with that. But this happened to all the teams. I think the sling is part of the game. Maybe remove the coinage, for example, in feudal age can be nice, can be an oath probably, and leave it from castle age. But other than that, I think it wasn't terrible in the tournament. We talk a lot, Swiss Boy and me, about this link, but we analyze the maps and we say it depends how they play. If they are just playing a scary movie, like I like to say, this link destroy. But if they play so aggressive against this link, there's a lot of tools to kill. And I think it happens in some games and in some others not.
Yeah, I think the community is a little torn on it, and I think we need to just look more at stats and see what actually happened from a stats perspective as well.
Yeah, well, I never will be 100% agree on that topic. Never, ever.
No, of course. It's one of those big things, right?
Yeah, probably. Let's talk about viewer numbers. Guys, I remember Woobly Official 2013, 2014, we were happy to cast for 300 people. I remember co-casting Viper against MBL. We broke the record there on Mem's channel with 1,030. Broke 4K. I know like 2 years ago, people went crazy when we had 1K.
I think the first time
Vipers.
was maybe Dreams. Dreams was the first person to ever break 1K viewers. And
Is that so?
Yeah,
okay.
But that was way before streaming was big. And that was just this like one-off time. Like he was pulling really good numbers. And then there was this big dip where Dreams went away and there weren't many active channels. But it's been growing steadily, right?
Yeah. WSVG finals had like 2.5K with front page on Reddit and, or not on Reddit, on Twitch and Reddit post. And suddenly this weekend we had a combined of 8K or something.
If we count YouTube, close to 13,000.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that's with the Spanish streaming on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, only English and of course, Spanish. I don't know German, also maybe some smaller streams or something. But there's a lot of people. I think there's a lot of reasons for this is happening. You know, I think Viper has helped a lot with that. Because he bring a lot of people, you know, a lot of people to the community. Is the truth. He's now streaming often, so he bring a lot of fans because they know that he's the number one. But the most important is that Twitch, since Amazon come, is growing a lot.
Yeah,
that for me is the most important. Now there is a lot of people knowing Twitch. For example, in my family, in my close friends, you said, I watched YouTube. I watched one video on YouTube, and all people have an account on YouTube. You say, do you have a Twitch account? And they say, what? That sometimes now people start to know Twitch. There's still a lot of people, even more than we can imagine, that they don't still know what Twitch is. And a lot of people with Amazon Prime that is still there, not using the Amazon Prime because they don't know about Twitch. And this, I think, is the most important. And I think we will get more viewers in the future with the Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition coming and with Age of Empires 4, hopefully.
I think you're right about the Twitch thing as well. It's not just people becoming aware of Twitch. It's the internet as a whole getting faster around the world. I know a lot of people a few years ago couldn't actually watch Twitch because their internet wasn't fast enough. You know, I'd upload a VOD from a tournament to YouTube and it would, you know, maybe have 20 to 30,000 views. Those 20 to 30,000 people are not all available at one time. And a lot of them couldn't watch Twitch or didn't know about Twitch. But now more and more people are aware of it. Bigger tournaments are attracting more people. We have regular streamers who are getting, I think, hosts as well. Big hosts from, I know
Wagamama.
T90 got hosted by Wagamama and Kit and others potentially as well that are going to put more eyes on Age of Empires 2. And that's great for exposure. So it's one of those things. Twitch is growing as a whole and we're kind of growing with it, and obviously more and more people are getting involved,
and everyone has played this game.
Yeah, everyone.
And a lot of people, and thanks to this thing, this publicity, a lot of people don't even imagine that the game is still being played.
Yeah.
So when they discover that it's still being played, it's what? But in a high level, but these tournaments, what? 6,000, 3,000 for what? Yeah. For real? And then people is still coming. I mean, every day that I stream, I get new. Say it in a joke. Wait, what? Another misclick? You might be wrong. It's a misclick because how is this possible, right? That people is still coming for this. So I think that's the main thing. And like you said, I remember some time ago when I was streaming with 2 megabytes or 3 megabyte upload, people could not watch the stream.
Yeah.
I stream now with more than double the bandwidth, and I don't get complaints.
Yeah. Twitch has got better as well, you know, with handling that.
The servers and everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's in a really good place right now. And I think, as you said as well, Meb, with Definitive Edition coming out, so many new people are going to see that through the marketing of it. And a lot of people are going to realize again that, oh, Age of Empires 2 is still being played. Now we have this Definitive Edition. You know, I have a lot of thoughts about HD and how it's been crap as a game, but for the community, it's been amazing because of the number of people that it's brought back.
But it could have been so much better. It could have been so much better.
But this isn't the time for that discussion.
But the HD game is not bad. I mean, okay. The HD, I mean is, the HD game is, for me, the game is the new civilizations, the new maps and all the stuff. What is bad is the performance on Steam, because the game itself is bringing a lot of great stuff that I love it. You know, the problem is that the performance is not the same. I mean, hiding that is just make no sense. But the game is perfect. What we need to improve, in my opinion, the publicity, the connection, the communication. I was telling you before this morning, for example. So much great players versus great players. It's happening and nobody knows. I mean, this because was a little bigger tournament, because let's face it, well, 6,500, BOA is nice, but it's not like the end of the world. I'm not going to be like, oh man, we did it's great, but it's not like, but it needs to be communication. For example, well, China community is going for on his own world. So if they do some match or some tournaments, nobody knows. Or if you know, it's going to start now. How people is going to be aware?
Yeah.
No? Yeah, and if someone is doing, other day, Nili, you were doing so much. I don't know if it's, but it's the same.
You're cutting out. You're cutting out.
Other day you were doing a 2v2 so much that I was also casting in my channel. We have to promote these things. If we don't promote, and we have to promote each other, because, and then if people want to watch one or the other, well, their personal preference, but we have to promote. If we don't promote, we're going nowhere, man. Really.
I mean, Dautero against the Max and the Lees. I only came up with that half an hour before we started.
Yeah, but I said it's
actually because of doubt, maybe, 1.5 hours.
Maybe okay. Well, doubt is doubt. But when it's spontaneous, but there's a lot of others that is not spontaneous, you know. So we have to communicate.
Yeah,
I have some ideas about this. We'll see about that soon.
Oh, announcement of ideas.
Yeah. Oh god, taking it too far
Okay,
now.
guys. What are your wild predictions? What will be the biggest non-Rocket Beans TV stream of Age of Empires this year? Viewer numbers.
I think we'll have one that takes 10K for a non-Rocket Beans or let's say stream that only focuses on Age of Empires.
It's possible. I mean,
sounds realistic, right?
Why not?
That's good.
People shouldn't be surprised. The problem is that we are used to don't see that. But for example, if you go on Twitch, 10,000 is not like something huge for us in Age of Empires. Sadly, it is. Hopefully, we can be in one day that we say, okay, I got 10K. Let's go for the 15. That's you have to be ambitious in this regard and try to fight for the best of the best.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get a lot of viewers over the next year and even the following year as well. I can't see how things will go down from here, at least not for a while. I remember a couple of years ago, before HD, there was a lot of discussion, a lot of talk about how the game's dying and, what are we going to do? And, how do we get more people to see it? We're in a totally different time now. It's awesome.
Yeah, this discussion has been like constantly happening from 2005 to 2012 or something. Like from Arbalete sponsor quitting till War is coming. And everyone said like War is coming. If it doesn't happen the second time, Age of Empires will be dead. And then SY sponsor took over. Now Microsoft is showing interest. I think we are on a good path.
Well, Nili, Age of Empires being dead for the last 10 years. All the time is this game is dead.
Yeah,
I have listened to this all the time. This game is dead.
Yeah.
This game is dead. Well, you are such a positive guy, man. Come on.
Okay, then let's jump into Vivi and Nikov. So
some drama. This is more interesting.
At least some drama. Exactly.
Come on.
So to kind of different topics. Vivi had a lot of problems there with SY. I read the whole translation. So he disbanded with SY because SY kind of is like these superstars in China, kind of our tyrants, I would say. But like they're trusting them so much more. So everything Paladin and Yo are saying, they're like the superstars there are kind of, it kind of is the truth.
Yeah.
And they weren't happy with Vivi. And Vivi felt like I played on the same level like the others. But everyone like super hated on Vivi. They came from the other streams onto Vivi's stream, insulted him, said how bad he played. And he felt he couldn't really continue with that. And therefore kind of quit, what I can understand. And Vivi at the moment, he at one point had like, I believe, 3 accounts in the top 5 or something. So he's an absolute beast mode at the moment.
I feel bad for Vivi. I feel like he's just kind of been blamed because somebody needs to take the blame. It's pretty unfortunate, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure SY have had issues like this in the past where players have come and gone and they've come in and they're going, and it's hard to know exactly what's going on because of the language barrier and how things in China are so separated from the international community. But I do feel bad for the guy because I'm sure he actually really did try and play his best. And it seems like They're just looking for someone to blame.
I think people exaggerate. I mean, in the last 3 days, I have seen, well, before hosting you, Nili, I was casting Mr. Yo and Bibi versus MBL and ACCM.
Yeah.
I don't think so. They hate that much each other if they are playing together. You know, I'm sorry if I'm killing the drama, you know? But what I mean is, you know, probably the perspective, and this is good, because when you join in a tournament, for me, the attitude is, I want to win. So I think it's good that they have some arguments that they will fix in the future or not. But, well, you did this or okay. What you don't have to do is make them public. The viewers, there's always fans that go for one side, for the other. What I think the pros, because we have to be pros, people that is really known as a casters, the players like them, they have not to get involved. The fans, they are always, this happening in all e-sport, in a sport, all people criticize one or others. The problem is when you see, if the players get into forums or into some of this, let the people tell whatever. What it has to be done is that if there is happening in forums or in Twitch chat, for that are moderators to clean the disrespect. But if you can blame, oh, it was fault at, well, they are talking about who they think it's wrong or not. But I like the competitive from SY that they were angry because they wanted to win. You know, no, it's the truth. I don't agree if you lose and you feel happy. You cannot feel happy. If you lose, you have to feel, well, yeah, it's okay. We did a good tournament, but we have to improve for the next one, and we will try our best to the next one destroy with this player or with another. But I mean, I don't know if it was BB fought Mr. Yo or Lakes, but either of the three got dominated. Man, it was as a team, all did mistakes. I think BB doesn't have the chemistry. I don't see them working super strong together with the others. Honestly, I got surprised that Paladin didn't play, even if he is maybe slower, but it reminds me a little bit like K-Cap in Tyrants, if you know what I mean, Nili. Like, he put there the plans, the strategies a little bit. Okay, let's go for it. And he's the character also that is working. Well, on the day they did so much, and they were 2-0 down against Suomi, and they win back 4-2. So with Paladin. So
yeah, well, Paladin surely is good. I believe like Vivi, it's like buying in the star player, but he played such a similar style to Lux, like the tower rush all in, like super aggression. Then Yo kind of was the only guy somewhat trying to boom, went into scouts as well. So it wasn't a buy-in to create like a super harmonic team, I would say. And I wanted to mention with the mods, just think about it. If Yo has 10k viewers, which isn't like too untypical, and he says like, yeah, we lost to Vivi, and he could be mad. It doesn't have to be like his real opinion. It just said like, we lost because of Vivi, the noise was too loud in TeamSpeak because new microphone, music, whatever, yalla yalla. With only 5% of those 10k people watching and going to Vivi's stream and spamming him like, why did you lose our favorite team? Nationalism, China is down now, make China great again, kick Vivi out. 500 people spamming your chat is quite a bit. You need a lot of mods to control that.
Yeah, that's true. And that's something that everyone has to deal with, really, isn't it? I mean, you can't control the people who watch your stream necessarily. I mean, you can give your honest opinion about something and people will take it all manner of ways. They'll take it to be good, to be bad, and they'll talk. I mean, that's what people do, and it's kind of a bit out of control when the community does something like that.
It's impossible. It's impossible. I asked Mr. Yo the other day why Paladin didn't play in Battle of Africa, and he told me he didn't want to play.
It's tough maps for him as well. You created those maps to be like super aggressive, super intense, and just think about like how biggest Paladins 1v1 rating at the moment, 2.1k or something.
Yeah,
It
something
would
like
get
this.
really tricky if he's flanked against MBL, Leary, or Hart. I really want to see Lux or Vivi there.
Difficult.
And let's move on to Nikov. It kind of feels like Vivi, that's a chapter that will be reopened. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back to SY. I wouldn't be surprised if he teams up with Tim again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he quits. Like, I think it will be another topic in another Talk of the Empire for sure.
Basically, Vivi is going to do something, and you're not going to be surprised at whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
But
wouldn't
Nikov,
be surprised
on
if he
the
joins Tyrant.
other hand- yeah, that would be surprising. Viper apparently offered him, so who knows?
For real?
I don't think for real. But Nikov then.
No.
So Nikov apparently, he was teaming up with AM, MBL, Hart, and Leary, and they were super happy to have another fourth player. And yeah, he had some FP issues, couldn't play the first 2 weeks, and he got really depressed there. And he wanted to play, but had some issues, and then deinstalled Age of Empires before the semifinals. At least that's what I heard. And that's a huge loss for me.
Not for you, only for both events. King of the Desert, he resigned. I don't know, 2 weeks before start, or maybe 1 month. I don't remember, and he didn't play for whatever reason. Because I have always thought that top 3, top 5, Nikov is, in my opinion, and don't have him in the tournaments is bad for the community for sure. And as a fan from Age of Empires, like I am also, I love to see the best, and he's one of the best. So it's a pity that he didn't play anything, any of those events. Hopefully he's gonna go back. What else to say about that?
I mean, he's been in the game for such a long time. I mean, I'm sure he'll find the motivation to come back at some point, right? But I can understand the frustration when you have internet problems and such. Sometimes it's out of your control, and it can just be really annoying to have to deal with. I don't know exactly what happened, because I don't think he's actually posted anything in English about this. Not sure.
I only heard it from, I believe, Hart or someone.
Yeah. He made a Facebook post in Spanish, which someone translated for me.
Oh, okay.
But he said that he's basically spent so much time playing the game, and it's taken so much of his life that he doesn't enjoy playing it anymore. But
It's
that's what
Batman.
they all say.
Yeah, and they come back. Yeah, that's so true. For me, he was the number 2 in the world. I know a lot of people would call me crazy, but I rated him over Leary. But
because he's good in all the maps, right, Nili? I think he's good in all the maps. We still need to see Leary, for example, to play more than Arabia and Somaliland maps. I think he doesn't play all the maps, or not at the same level.
he played for
Nikov, Nikov, he can play anything like Viper.
Yeah, and he plays so clean in team games as well. I see him in Titanic so rarely. And yeah, both performed in escape gaming tournaments. Leary got to beat the Viper. Nikov actually won that tournament. So they have shown to be players of other maps as well. So a huge loss, at least for me, because I really liked him. I thought he was a great addition for AM. Maybe he could have pulled it together there. If he would have been around and suddenly Hart, MBL, and Nikov could have trained, that would have been so good for them as well.
There was a bit of drama at the start of the tournament, I remember, about whether or not MBL was going to be benched. I'm glad they put that behind them, because that would have been awkward, wouldn't it? MBL sort of benched, Nikov then leaving, and then, MBL, can we play with you, please?
Yeah, but we had Hart there, and he said, we will let the guys play who feel best. And well, I felt like Hart's interview was really the right answers there. I wasn't 100% sure if that's really going to happen, but I felt like the attitude was spot on there.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Hart does make a good team leader for the team, and I hope he tries to keep the team together. Because I know, Leary's a young guy. MBL, can act quite young sometimes, let's say, and I think Hart needs to just kind of keep an eye on that. But I think he does a good job of it.
They need Nikov in that role also.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's going back too.
Okay, then let's talk some about balancing, because I found something on Reddit that kind of surprised me there, and I think we might want to take a look. I did send you the links in Discord there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we will take a look at that together, indeed. And this is for 1v1 statistics of the top 20 players in the world. They played obviously against less top 20 players. That's why the overall win rate is at 63%. The total games are 3K. And I'm really surprised how some Civ performed here. Vietnamese very low there, 36% only. And Hans still being the number one. Koreans very high. And we had some surprises, and it feels like a lot of people aren't complaining about some of the top civilizations. I think we really need some buffs for the low ones, though, like Saracens, Khmer, Vietnamese.
Portuguese.
Really need a buff. Yeah. Portuguese probably. I personally am a big Portuguese fan, but probably they need a buff. Yeah, everyone hates them.
Don't lie, Nili.
Maybe they do.
I think I would really like to see some kind of change to the Koreans right now. I think they were the number one banned Civ in Battle of Africa. At first, it was Burmese getting banned a lot, but then it was the Koreans nearly every time. And just the towers in general. For me personally, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but tower rushing as the Koreans is so boring. It's so predictable. It's not very
broke.
Yeah, there's so much wrong with it on so many levels.
They are just broke. And I will really remove one range in the towers in general. I mean, that range is too much. And I have always thinking one thing about the towers also. Why, if you put the skirmishes inside, it doesn't shoot arrows? And if you put villages, it's shooting arrows. You need to put archers. I think we have to nerf the tower rush with the range, and for example that the villages also don't shoot arrows either. Why do they have and only with the military archers they shoot the arrows, and we see so many towers, so many.
Yeah.
In general, not only with Korea, we see so many towers all the time. We see so many towers in every game, like towers, and barely see feudal fights. You see so many towers and go for castle age.
I think the problem as well is that towers are very viable in the feudal age, but nobody is making keeps in the imperial age. As a building in the game, like you would rather obviously always have a castle, but in the early game, towers are still so good. Yet their late game sort of purpose isn't there either. I think they could do so much to change the way towers work, but it's a difficult thing to change and balance because, there's so many different possible changes you could make.
Yeah. I remember about the Indians, about the camels. You see how the Indians, so they seem to not be that powerful.
That's only 1v1 stats. That's only 1v1 stats.
I know. And in team games?
In team games, we can take a look at the next link I did send you.
They are even lower, Indians.
That's so surprising, right?
Yeah. For example,
where are they? Look at that. They're below average.
Look at the best civilization, Nili. How proud I feel for the team games. I have nothing else to say. Spanish, man.
Spanish trade, too good.
Spanish trade, man. We have a great economy, man. You see?
Yeah. The world knows.
Economy. My God, the great economy of Spain. I will not get subscribers and donations anymore. People, memory rich, Spanish economy.
That probably explains why Britons are in second with Brexit then. But yeah,
It makes sense.
yeah.
Look at Franks. Look at Franks. That people were telling Franks are useless. The fifth there. Ah.
Well, I think Franks are in a really good place right now. I think Franks are just right. But it's difficult to know what to do. Do you buff the weaker civs or do you attempt to nerf the best civs? What do you think is the best approach, guys?
To make the wars better. Why to make a strong civilization? We want to all fight with the skirmishers. I mean, try to, for example, Portuguese. I don't see that is that terrible, but it's true that the unique unit should be something great in all civilizations, and they sucks. Basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're better now. They were buffed in 5.7.
That they are super slow. They are not good. I mean, they are really easy to counter in general, and I don't know. They don't make any difference. The Portuguese.
Yeah, I'm also very surprised to see the Indians solo down here. I can't remember what exactly was nerfed. They lost Arbalest, right?
Arbalest,
which is quite a big deal.
And now the camels.
Perfect. Was just for Indians so perfect.
Yeah.
They just got rid of Arbalest and they felt so much better.
But I mean, a 53% win rate is actually fair, right? I mean, shouldn't that be the ideal situation, that it's like a 50% win rate for every civ? That would be the perfect balance.
It's you have to remember it's only taken from the top 20 players, and they are obviously playing against weaker players as well, so everyone is higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
As I said, like the average is 57 in team games and 63 in 1v1s.
But I will definitely nerf the Arabais. I'm sorry, but that unit is also broken still. But maybe not about the attack. You have to make them cost food, man. Because
I think if they just cost food, the unit is completely fine. Then it's kind of like a conquistador.
Don't you agree? No, because you can make a perfect boom with them, go in no time to Imperial and destroy with the Arabais. You have to make them a little bit more expensive, really.
What isn't it like an idea to even take the first defense upgrade away from them? Would that be an option?
What?
That's just getting too crazy. The first defense upgrade for the
matches. Then they are naked, man. No.
Like they're still an interesting unit. Like heavily damage output, very vulnerable. I think that could be a funny idea.
I think the Arbalests are doing well against the Arabais, but the problem is that while you get the Arabais, the Arbalest is Imperial, and you don't go Imperial against Burmese. They destroyed you before, you know. But during Castle Age, the problem is that your opponent is doing constantly Arabais and also getting a great boom. If they are expensive, they are still doing the damage. But if you can expand your economy, you can move, you still have some chance to come back. But at this point, it's impossible. If you go aggressive with Mangonels and Arabais, how to stop them?
Yeah, feels very broken at the moment, but will be addressed. I think they're working on that. Citizen said that last time, that they take that into consideration, that they know that something needs to be changed. And as I said, like, I really feel we need to buff the weaker civilizations as well, because like if the weaker civilizations are getting stronger, you don't feel like the overpoweredness of the very strong civilizations that much anymore. I think just give some more power to what are the weak civilizations? Italians, Vietnamese, Goths and team games probably. Yeah. It's interesting, like
I will now that you say Italian, before I forget. I think the speed to make the Genoese crossbowman should be faster. The time creation, to mass them is extremely slow.
Yeah.
So I feel that civilization, I think, is need that, because the unique unit against paladins, against cavalry is But to mass those units, I mean.
But I see them as kind of being similar to the Chinese in the post-imperial stage of the game, where you do like bombard towers and Shuko Nu. And
yeah, but the Chukunos creation is faster.
Yeah, but they deal with like heavily armored units quite well. The Chukonyu do. The Italians deal with Paladin really well if they have the Bombard Towers and the Genoese crossbow, but you just don't see the Italian players actually getting the opportunity to really mass the Genoese crossbow.
It's super slow. Super slow. The creation. If you just check, for example, you put the Karambit Warriors and you see the Genoese crossbowman, and you have 20 Karambit Warriors and 2 Genoese crossbowmen, or 3. Maybe I exaggerate, no? But it's extremely slow.
It's tricky, and it will be addressed in the future. With the look on the clock, a lot of people want to will want to watch Champions League. I know you, Memb, as well. So I think we will just jump over into the last point and we'll allow the viewers to ask some questions. Obviously, we want to avoid drama, so no questions about Memb MBL, Memb Cannibals, about the upcoming tournaments. We will have another Talk of the Empire for that. But now it's time for your questions. Memb, you want to say something?
We're going to have another Talk of the Empire for drama?
No, not for drama.
For the other stuff.
Well, if there's something that they want to ask, I'm not gonna make any drama. I want to tell people that I will answer anything. You know, I have no problems. But you are the boss here, Nili, so no problem for me.
Yeah, maybe we will do an episode of Drama of the Empire.
Yeah. Flo asks, who has the biggest microphone? Probably
mine is long. Mine is really long,
but it's not very wide. Is that the issue?
Well, it's an issue, yeah.
Big, huh?
Okay, a lot of people here today.
You tell me the questions, Nili, and what you or what? Let's see. If they go too fast, I don't know what to answer. You drive this, Nili.
Okay, so some ideas for buff for Saracens. What do they need to be a stronger civilization?
Mameluke cheaper.
Thing is, like, Saracens are super good if they get post-imp. It's everything before that's the problem.
Super expensive.
Yeah.
No, but before that, if you check, they have bloodlines for scouts. They have crossbows with all the upgrades. They have skirmishes with all the upgrades. But the unique units are extremely expensive. Super expensive. To get them properly, they have the elite Mamelukes and Zealotry. Super expensive. But the Mamelukes itself are incredibly expensive. They need to be a little bit cheaper. I think with that, they are fine. They got siege honors, siege rams, bombard cannons, hussars. So I think the unique unit needs to be cheaper.
Yeah, I think as well that the halberdier or the pikeman line buff to camels did nothing but hurt the Saracens as well, and they already needed I think a bit of a buff at that point, and then that came along and obviously made it worse. So difficult, because the thing is, a nerf to one civ can be a buff to another, and vice versa. You know, it's a very intricate thing. You know, there are a lot of knock-on effects to changing something about one civilization that maybe isn't considered first time around.
Okay, like I said, no questions about tournaments, and 80% of the questions are, when is the next tournament? Guys, I can squeeze it in a bit earlier. We will have tournaments announcements coming this month, and we will have Talk of the Empire at the 22nd or 23rd of May with ZeroEmpires, me, and the Viper, and we will talk about those tournaments at that point. So roughly in 3 weeks, right?
3 weeks. Oh, it's 3 weeks already?
High five!
Enough time.
Get nervous.
I'm very.
Yeah. We'll see about that.
Relax. It's not that much.
Okay, the question to me was, like, how profitable was Battle of Africa for my channel? I think not like super profitable. Like, I had a lot of like viewers that already watch channel, but I didn't have like lot of new follower numbers. So I think for me it was a big pleasure, and I had a lot of content I could cast and provide, but I think it didn't like enormously grow my channel. Ma'am, how was it for you? How was like your results for Battle of Africa in general?
Way less than expected for my channel. King of the Desert was by far better in my channel. I expected to grow a lot more in terms of new followers and new subscribers. I have the same subscribers right now that when before I start the Battle of Africa, and that makes not real sense, you know. And it's like this. It's a truth. You can check before it start. You can check the stream, and you will see that the numbers are just being exactly the same. So it didn't grow, which of course it's not the main goal when you make a tournament, but it's one of the goals that your channel grow, and it didn't. It was good because I got a lot of viewers, and the people who watch in my channel I enjoy a lot on my own, and but wasn't as expected. So it's a reality. It wasn't as expected. Yeah. But this is easy to check because you can check. The votes are there, so it's like this. Well, I see some of the comments. I say some of the comments in the. I don't think, well, about what people is telling in the chat. I don't think so. It's T90 fault, but it's also true that we have to work more together. And in this community, we don't do that. Not as we should do it, you know. And I know that people say, well, do you think, guys, I cared to put the banner there or not? I didn't, man. This kind of stuff was because of Phoenix Gaming International. We didn't talk about that they came, and it's really nice because other than Microsoft, Zach, you know that what other company come to the Age of Empires scene?
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
Bigger or smaller or medium, but it's not common. It's not common. And if you don't credit, I can consider myself like the host with Swiss Boy. But if you don't give credit to the sponsor, Phoenix Gaming International, and the other sponsor that was how I like to call the Lover Boys. But the Lover Boys is not because of that. It's because usually, and I want to take this opportunity to say that I don't know what kind of channel people watching when it's in my chat, but when I see some disrespect to anyone, you, Zach, Nili, T90, or any of the players, and you know that when you are casting live, you focus in the game. Myself, ban, subscriber, viewers, or whoever is there doing that. I don't tolerate any of that things. One thing is when I can rage myself when I'm playing, because it's part of the show, and it's also because sometimes you are not in the mood. Sometimes I play relaxed, but some other times, for whatever reason, I get more angry. But if I also say something disrespect or I cross the line, I always will apologize, like I have done in a couple of times, but it's just playing. But when it's in serious tournaments, that's never happened. I really think that we have to credit, man, because if we don't credit people that support and don't see it, because everyone watch everyone. Do you think people don't watch some to say, or they are? Do you think, Zach, that people that put $500, $2,500, they don't watch what other channels are doing? Everyone watch it, man. Yeah, everyone watch it because they are curious to see, okay, I want to see what is the credit, the recognition that is there. And I'm not going to say names because it's not needed. Everyone can watch themselves. Some people credit really great and in a professional way, and some other people was more shy. Is the shy the correct word? I think it's shy, not like
as active in promoting the Lover Boys.
Not being active. Like, okay, the banner is there, but in my opinion, that's not the way to go. But it's just my personal opinion. And people was talking, well, is what I think about that.
It's a difficult situation though, because you know, I know you've said to me before, Mem, that you believe that people watch your stream for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case for a lot of streams, because streaming is a very personal thing. I mean, people watch my stream for me, people watch your stream for you, people watch this stream for all three of us right now, but for Nili mostly. And I don't think that any level of cross promotion would necessarily change that. But I do think it would help to bring exposure to the other casters and other streamers, because I don't know how people are finding streams usually. For me personally, I see who's streaming on the Age of Empires 2 subreddit. But what are most people doing? How are most people finding which streams are live? They may not know that, you know, you or I or Nili exist, or, you know, they might not have that knowledge. But I don't know. I don't know what they're doing to discover new Age of Empires streams, or if they're interested in other Age of Empires streams.
Well, personally, myself, I just check always the folder Age of Empires in Twitch. Is the only way that I check, oh, who is streaming here? I will this one, or I will watch now that I have free time, this stream. I'm curious to see. But what you might understand that this not it can't happen is that during the final or during the semifinal, people don't know who is the host of the tournament.
Sure. That makes sense.
That can't happen in any case. In tournaments hosted by you, tournaments hosted by Nili, for T90, for me, or for... If that happened, something has been done wrong, or not as effective as it should be done.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't recognize that I was actually very active last year in Age of Empires 2. I wasn't streaming on my own channel. I wasn't really making any YouTube videos, but I organized 9 international tournaments last year. And because I did that as Escape Gaming, and I did that with other people, I feel like a lot of people haven't recognized that I did that. But I think that's a different thing, because that's being under Escape Gaming, let's say. This is obviously an event organized by you and Swiss Boy, and it's because of your efforts with PGI, and it's because of your supporters that we had a prize pool. And I think that's a very different thing to actually doing it as a company, let's say.
Well, it's difficult because the concept is a little bit different. It's you are doing something that is with Escape, also with Microsoft sometimes in the last year, some of the times it was Escape. And what I did was a little bit different, but not that much, because I took a lot of risk. Because people think that it's only, well, Mem just donated 500, there was another people, but I push my supporters. And do you think all the supporters have the money to support for the tournament and also for support to me?
No, of course not.
No. So when they supported in those 2 months before the tournament, they didn't support to me. So indirect, I put more than 500. I recognize the job with Swiss Boy, so Swiss Boy will get money too, and he didn't ask ever to me, you know. But if you don't give recognition to people, they fly. I mean, it's like this, because he has to spend a lot of hours with this stuff. So the effort, it's people don't know, you know, because you host tournaments, but people don't know, and Nili knows, people don't know how much is behind that green screen. It's the truth. And it's not being, oh, poor Mem. No, it's the total truth. So when I read some comments, I never answer, because it's opinions and I don't have to explain. But now that we are here and we are talking about this topic, why not? I mean, there's a lot behind the scenes. And you ask me, no, it wasn't Nili, is how it was for your channel. Less than expected, just okay in this thing. But for that reason, when you don't expect, but you at least want to see that people appreciate it, that with that is okay. If you notice that some people in the semifinals and final don't know that you are doing the tournament, you feel bad. because you will feel bad. I mean, and it's
you can't help it. You know, you could be the best person in the world, but you'd feel bad. You know.
Yeah, you feel bad. I mean, I know that you credit me because I know that you did active. I know that Nili did as well. But well, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I want to also discuss maybe we shouldn't discuss this. What do you guys think about open and closed streaming? Because I saw some questions about that. I've seen discussions about that recently.
Some people ask that as well. If you want to give your thoughts, we will have that as a topic as well in 3 weeks.
Okay. Well,
I can tell something. I can tell something about this.
Yes.
My future events will be different. It's not going to be the same policy. No. I'm not going to say what it's going to be because I will work with something that is for everyone, but it's not going to be like these last two. Because I'm honest always, and I'm going to be honest with you and with all the people here. You give chances to people behave like they have to behave. If you have to say, when you are doing something open, right, you don't have to give the instructions to the people. It's open. So people have to behave. So if people behave great, you keep going like this. If people don't behave like it has to be, you change. And that's it.
Well, I would like to look at other esports here when you consider open and closed streaming and how streaming and broadcast rights work. If you look at CSGO, Dota, League of Legends, Fortnite, Rocket League, you know, you name it, I can guarantee you that the tournament hosts are running their own streams. And there's a lot of reasoning behind that. And I know that the community likes the idea of open streaming. And I can certainly understand why that is, because I myself, and I know it's very hypocritical for me to sit here and say this now, when I was myself saying, oh, we should have open streaming, you should let everyone stream your tournaments back in 2014 or something. You know, times change, opinions change. But I can understand where people come from, that they want to see one particular caster, or they want to see that particular coverage of a tournament, whether it's you or Nili, me, anyone else. But from a hosting standpoint and from the amount of time and effort that goes into actually putting a tournament on, we're making this possible. And at the end of the day, it has to be worth it for everybody involved. And so there are many different ways to approach it and make closed streaming and open streaming work. I just think we should look at other esports and think about why they're doing it the way that they are.
But something really important, we have to make Age of Empires become e-sport. You know what I mean? Because we just made now comparisons with a really crazy communities, crazy games, with crazy amount of money, you know, with crazy sponsors, and to be there, we have to work everyone together and in a stronger way than till now, because if not, it's really difficult.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying that Age of Empires doesn't compare to other esports. I mean, yeah, it's not the same size, but the fundamentals of tournament hosting and organization are the same no matter what game you're looking at. We are getting bigger as a game. Things will be changing for Age of Empires 2, because when things get bigger and when more money comes into it from Microsoft or other sponsors, certain things have to happen and certain checkboxes need to be ticked, and that's just the natural progression of things for the game. If it continues to go in that direction, I mean, I don't see why not. Age of Empires is continuing to grow, and esports is looking at real sports. Real sports is bigger than esports, but esports is taking a lot of inspiration from what happens in real sports as a guidance to where they should be aiming to go as well.
I kind of feel like we need a meeting.
With what?
A meeting.
Okay.
With all the casters.
That's definitely necessary, for sure. It should be. Like, because sometimes everyone, myself included, maybe we give things for guaranteed, you know, or suppose that some things for one is normal, one thing for talking is necessary. Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, Age of Empires 2 right now might not be a big esport, but there's no reason why we shouldn't do the things that we think will help it to become one, right? You got to have a goal. You got to have some enthusiasm to make it bigger and better. And I can tell you now that with the things that we have planned, it's not possible to do it any other way. And we're going to be able to do a lot more exciting things because of the way we're approaching it now compared to how we used to approach it when it was just community run by the community for the community. You know, I think we're going in a good direction. And I agree that sitting down with everybody and discussing, anyone who's anybody, and actually talking about these things and talking it over is a good thing to do.
Great stuff. Great summary. And I think since Champions League is starting now, I will give the last words to Mr. Memp, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for bringing me here. And I just hope that for Battle of Africa and also King of the Desert, because with King of the Desert didn't have the opportunity, everyone have really enjoyed. It was the main goal, really. And I know that you Nili has enjoyed a lot because you love these kind of games. I have seen you some of your casting, Zach, and I think you have enjoyed too. Everyone has enjoyed, all the casters, and the people has enjoyed a lot. The games have been crazy. And I only can say thank you so much to Phoenix Gaming International because they know us thanks to King of the Desert. They enjoy a lot and they support it. I think they are happy and they are willing to keep with us in the community, which is good. And of course, I want to give a big thank you to people that supported the T-shirt is for a reason. But we failed, Zach, because we were really to be here with the helmet. I don't know if you have. Mine is better. You know.
Yours is better.
And we're real medieval. We're here with the helmet. His helmet seems to be better, but it's not. Mine is almost €5. Fuck. Bayern Munich got a goal. Shit.
Oh shit. You better go.
Yeah, I just see now. I don't like it. Yeah, his is better. But other than that, well, I want to say thank you to everyone, and hopefully, guys, you have enjoyed a lot, and we keep enjoying it all together. Shit, Bayern made a goal in 3 minutes. It's your fault, really, because you keep this so aligned till Real Madrid and Bayern is live.
Yeah, I tried to wrap it up earlier before. Okay, thank you so much for being around, Memp. I know that you really wanted to see that. Enjoy your evening, and thank you so much, Zach, as well. We'll have the next Talk of the Empire, 22nd or 23rd of May, together with the Viper, and we will talk about the Escape Gaming Tournament and my tournament, and we will all see you there. Memp, thank you so much. ZeroEmpires.
Nili, we love this game. Okay.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Memp, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye, guys.